All
much
right,
quicker.
we're live.
Anybody have any objections?
Nope.
Okay, me.
All right. Okay,
All right. So,
I
it
forgot my
is-
note-taking machine. Crap,
No laptop?
my little laptop for taking my notes.
Is it downstairs?
I think it's in the kitchen. I'm gonna grab it.
I'll wait.
I just sat down. I realized it.
So I want to say that it is nice to see actually 5 people here.
It really is. I don't know if you remember, I'm Steve, by the way.
Right, yes,
Yeah.
I remember, yes.
Bob.
No, me, I'm
Robert.
Marty.
Marty.
Yes.
He's the chair.
Short for Martin.
Martin.
Gotcha.
Let's apologize for that. Okay,
All right.
I suppose I have to take attendance.
Okay, so it is April 14th, 2026, and it is a meeting of the Town of Webster Zoning Board of Adjustment, and we'll have the secretary start to take attendance.
Martin Bender,
Present.
Robert Drown, absent. Barbara Corliss,
Here.
Robert Clages,
Here.
Dee Blake. Here. And Stephen Buddhead.
Here.
And you have been sworn in, right?
I have.
Great.
All right,
All right.
and we're gonna go over the first application.
Well, yes, and I don't know whether you heard me, I said I would like to reverse them, I'd like to start with the, special exception, because
Okay.
they're much faster than a variance. And I heard no objection, so we will start by having,
And Martina, would you like to come on and sit up here and
Whatever,
come on
I'm
up?
new to the process, so whatever you need from us,
Do you have the application? Because I have an extra copy.
I don't have it.
Please come before prepared. All right, there's your application.
all right, and let me quickly tell you, our process, since, like you just said, we haven't been here before. We simply start by having, we'll hear from you, you tell us exactly what it is that you want to do, what you need a special exception for. After you've spoken, then anybody else who wishes to speak in favor of you gets to speak. Then anybody in any opposition, they get to talk. Your chance for rebuttal by you, your chance for rebuttal by them. We will finally close the testimony, and then we'll open it up for discussion by the board. Or almost always usually has our decision tonight. And then after we've made our decision, you have, or the opposition has, 30 days in which to file an appeal with us. And if, after we rule on that, either we grant it or we deny it, then you have 30 days from there to file with the Superior Court.
Okay.
So, go ahead, tell us exactly what it is that you want to do.
All right, well, it's pretty straightforward. I've been running a small woodworking, furniture restoration, refinishing business for most of my life. When we moved out here, one of the reasons we bought the building that we bought was because there's a really nice barn there. My intention is to put my woodworking business into that barn. There's a couple of really nice workshops. I've already put heat into them, so they're ready to go. We've been using them to do some work around the house. And that's really it. It's really simple. I do furniture restoration, and I just want to continue doing it.
So, how much traffic do you expect from it? I mean, like, how many people do you expect to be showing up?
I've had, since I moved here, I've had 2 customers show up at my door, and that would be about right. Everything I do is by appointment, okay? I don't work outside of that, so I've had to put all my customers on hold since I found out that I needed to do this. But the situation is very low volume of traffic. Most of the time, I just go get the stuff and bring it back. So there's no exposure outside of the building, you know, of anything. It's all done inside the shop.
What about parking?
I've got a fairly large driveway. I would never have need for anything more than 1 person at a time dropping off furniture.
It's like 75 by 40-ish, probably.
It's a pretty good size
Pretty good.
driveway. You can get off the road. There's 2 big barn doors there to move stuff in.
It's enough room easily for someone to get in and unload a truck in a small trailer or something like
Yeah,
that.
if you had to.
Yeah.
Mostly, we were talking dressers,
Yeah.
tables, that sort of thing.
Signage. Would you be wanting to put up a sign of your business outside?
I would love to put up a sign of my business outside,
Okay.
let the world know where I'm at.
Marty, I forgot, what is the
We usually
dimensions?
say 4 by 8.
4 by 8?
4 by 8.
That's what I
Like
thought.
you can get, you know,
I doubt I go that big, but good,
Okay.
good to know I can go that
Sheet
big.
of plywood.
right, yeah, right, just a piece of plywood. And
That's it, no, there's a fella down the road that does cabinetry, that's a perfect size sign in my mind.
Okay.
Oh, he was here. a
Oh,
year-
yeah,
few years ago.
127 down there? Yeah.
Yes. Are you in the house that's on the corner of Tyler and 127?
Yes, ma'am.
Ah, okay, it was Sherman Stevens' place.
At one point, yeah.
At one point back when, yeah. Okay, that's a really good place to have a business. You're right on the corner of 2 state routes.
I think it's ideal. And back to the sign question, can I have that on Tyler or on 127?
I think you may run into something, well, actually, both of those are state routes. You may need to talk to the state
Okay,
about,
so I'll probably have to get state
Or-
sign ordinance on that.
yeah, they're both state routes.
Well, I can talk to the cabinet maker fellow down the road and ask him how he did it,
Yeah,
assuming that he did it right.
And they never told me he had any problem with it, so I don't think it's.
no, but it was brought up in the zoning
It was.
meeting on his business, so.
I could always put it on my barn, right?
Yeah, I'm thinking you could pull it back away from the road and be far enough that the state wouldn't be impacted by it.
Okay.
I think the only reason they'd be impacted is for snow removal, you
Right.
know, they don't wanna run into it.
Okay. Well, that's a bridge to cross later.
There you go. Well, you're using an existing building, so I don't think we need to worry about setbacks. This is just the barn that you've remodeled?
Well, I haven't even really remodeled it. Whoever owned it before us had built 3 workshops in there already.
Oh, wow.
So I took those workshops over, put my equipment in there,
Uh-huh.
and it's just sitting there waiting, and one of them I turned into a man cave. We're using that right away.
Okay.
What about the hours? I mean, obviously, well, you can work in your barn as long as you want, right? But I'm just more concerned about, you know, customers. Obviously, there's not gonna be a lot of volume. But do we have, I would say that we should have hours. In other words,
Okay.
you don't let, you know, a customer stop at 10 PM, 10 PM, you know.
I'm usually sawing wood by that point, so
Yeah.
it's not gonna happen. But no, I could definitely, limit that, that's
This-
not a problem.
Yeah, we usually do that. What would you say would be reasonable hours?
Honestly, after 5 o'clock, I don't like taking deliveries. I may go out and get something and be back after 5 o'clock, but I'm not gonna have
That's,
customers coming in much after that. I mean, maybe 6 if somebody's working till 5 and they gotta, come after work, but
yeah, I would say, yeah,
definitely not late.
make it like 8 to 6.
We can do that.
Can I ask you, for my own information, how long you been doing furniture repairing and all that good stuff? Long time?
Dirt was new.
Pardon?
Dirt was new when I started.
That's
Honestly,
quite a,
when I was very
Nice.
young, my dad and my uncle kind of started me off and,
Oh,
no, you're not
nice.
going out and playing with your friends, you're gonna come in here and learn something useful. And I hated it.
Good
But over
parents,
the
though.
years, I've, just kind of been doing it, really honestly, probably professionally doing it for probably 30 or 40 years,
wow.
but longer than that.
You started as a baby, huh?
Pretty much. When I was old enough to hold sandpaper, he had me down there.
That's really good, though. That's terrific.
So where were you working before you came to Webster?
Well, we came from Illinois about 30 years ago. Was that 80?
27.
98? Yeah, so we came here from Illinois in 98. We moved to Amherst. And so I had the shop in my basement in Amherst, which limited my ability to work. I mean, it was in my basement, it was small, I didn't have a lot of room, and talk about limiting customers flowing in and out. There was no customers in my basement. I wouldn't let them in, it was too embarrassing. But I worked there for, the 30 years we were here, and then saw this opportunity, like, oh my God, that's perfect. So that's how I got out here with it.
You like Webster.
I
You'll love
Webster. We loved Amherst when we first got there, and it just turned into a
Overgrown.
Boston suburb.
Hmm.
We lived right off of 101, and we
Oh.
couldn't turn out of our subdivision. And it was terrible, so, we saw this place, like, oh God, we have to have it, we have to be here, so.
You found a good place in Webster.
We love it here, really do. Plus, they got the river right,
I've been here
backyard.
50 years, so.
Yeah, the river's pretty.
It's gorgeous, and fishing, so.
I don't personally see any problems. You, Marty?
I don't have any more questions.
Pardon?
I don't have any more questions.
I don't either.
Let's see, we covered the sign, we covered
Yep, signs.
parking.
Yeah. It's existing building, so setbacks, traffic, all of those things are pretty settled.
I seriously, there's not gonna be any difference in traffic because of my business.
Right.
It's just not gonna change.
Yeah.
I'd like to motion that we can,
Well, we need to make
What?
public comment first.
oh, okay,
Right, yeah,
sorry.
right.
Just like,
We're kind of
We
jumping
gotta
ahead.
follow
sorry,
procedure.
sorry.
Right.
I'm getting old, things have to go fast.
All right, if you don't have anything more to say, then let's open it up to discussion in favor of anybody who wants to speak in favor, like, for example, your wife. Anything to say?
Anything to say?
I don't have anything to say.
All right, then let me hear from anybody in opposition. Okay, then I'll close the testimony and open up for discussion by the board.
Looks like a slam dunk to me.
Yeah,
I think it's a great addition.
yep.
You'll love the
In
town.
addition, yeah, it's a great addition to Webster.
Leave a card.
Yes.
Told you I should've ordered those cards. I ran out, I haven't got any new ones.
We know where you are.
You know where I live.
All right,
We know the hours now.
are we ready for the roll call vote?
Okay, yes,
Martin Bender,
I'm in favor.
Barbara Corliss,
In favor.
Robert Klages,
In favor?
Dee Blake,
In favor.
Stephen Baudet.
In favor.
Okay. And we are good.
All right,
Welcome to Webster.
thank you. I'm glad to be here. is awesome. So,
Get to work.
well, now I have to do the other meeting. which
Yep,
is,
you have to go to the planning board, and they are way more strict, no, they're not.
How do I pay it off?
They're just not as
Oh, you have you lived here long?
Since October.
Oh, well, Webster has great public suppers at the town hall here,
coming right up.
coming up, starting
movie
in
night.
June, I
also
think, or
have-
July.
And movie night at the library.
Every
yes.
third Friday, we have a movie coming up this Friday, and the movie will be
And
Hamnet.
Hamnet, that's what Wendy was complaining, she's like, did they do a typo, was it supposed to be Hamlet? And I'm like, no, it's Hamnet.
And I'm looking for a big crowd here for this.
It is Stars Hollow, like you said. You know, anybody know who Stars Hollow is? Gilmore Girls?
Where, what is?
Stars Hollow, the town that Gilmore Girls is in, the movie, the show, the Gilmore Girls. My wife watches the Gilmore
I
Girls.
could ask my daughter-in-law, she
They've
is
got a
such
town, it's called
fan.
Stars Hollow, and it's Webster. It's
Thank you
Webster.
very much.
We like it. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you, folks, for waiting on us. And we'll see you next month. Don't worry about that building right now. You know, I can't find that document that was on, so.
Okay, I'll double
Can't be
check.
that much, it's just a little shed anyway, so.
No,
look at
it won't
the
be that
show.
much, but I can double check on the property card in the morning, I'll make a note of it.
All right. Thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so let's take attendance again.
All right, Martin Bender,
Present.
Robert Drown, absent. Barbara Corliss,
Here.
Robert Klages, Steve Lake,
Here.
and Stephen Budette.
Here. So, I know this is, how many days have you been here? Yeah, that's what I think, yeah.
I thought so.
Yeah.
And there's 5 of you though, so.
Yes, right. So there are 5 of us, yes. And what I would like to do is basically start the hearing all over again because basically I wasn't here for the first hearing.
February.
Actually,
Well,
the
in
second
January.
one.
Yeah,
right.
you were
The
here
first
for
one,
January.
the first one we sent back
Yeah.
because it was for a special exception, but it has to be a variance. Right, okay, so that was the second hearing, and then I blew it, I wasn't here, and there are only 3 people here for it. So, and now we have 5. So what I'd like to do is open it again. And I listened to the last hearing that you had. Actually, that was.
That would
that
be
was not-
February.
That was the second one.
Yeah, it would be
Right.
February.
Right, the one I missed, right. And did you?
I did.
You
I saw
listened
it as
to it
well,
also?
yes.
Okay, good. So, so basically I'll open it up to, again, you know, your testimony.
Yep.
And then we'll ask you questions.
Okay.
And- Okay, so, so why don't you go ahead and just do a brief,
Sure.
yeah.
William Bill Craver, Basha Petlicki, my wife of 52 years. 52 years. This is our builder, Stu Pappas. He's the one that built the ADU.
Right.
And I'll talk about that in conjunction with the garage we're here to talk about. Let's just say I've learned a lot about the zoning ordinance in Webster, New Hampshire. So our ADU got done in May. We moved in May, and we were in the process of trying to sell our home in Henniker. We had to wait for that to sell before we made a decision whether or not to build the garage on our property. Once we sold it, it was actually, we had an agreement on it in September. We didn't close on it until October. So that's when we said, okay, yeah, let's go ahead and start the process. So Stu did the ADU. He's also good at garages. Thank you. And he's been here for every meeting, which is very nice. In late September, early October, we went through the process of deciding how big the garage would be. And we already had essentially a dirt road. I I don't know if you've still got the pictures, but, you know, when you pull
We've all
down,
got them,
there's a,
right?
yeah, there's a parking area right near the 127. And then you go down to the house from that parking area as you face the house to the right. And on the left corner, there's actually a dirt road, if you will, that had been used by many people, including Stu's people, to bring materials in. We even had excavators go down there and that kind of thing. So we said, hey, this is a good spot. We've got this road already established. We'll use that as our driveway, and then we figured out it's only a one-car garage. We didn't want to have anything too extravagant. And Stu, once we came to an agreement on how much it was gonna cost and everything, he said, hey, I'll go to town hall and I'll go in and talk to Russell Tatro about, you know, whether or not we need a building permit and any other information we might need. Stu came in on Friday, October 10th, and Russell wasn't available, but Dana was, Dana Hadley, town administrator. And so Stu talked to Dana about the need for a building permit. Dana came out and said, no, don't need it. And then Dana came out and said also, oh, by the way, the setback is 20 feet. That's from your town administrator. The setback is 20 feet.
By the
So-
way, has Dana ever said that, he said that?
He doesn't remember.
He doesn't remember, okay.
So, I understand. So Stu, and then, Dana went further to say, hey, and be neighborly, make sure it's more than 20 feet. You know, don't put it right at 20 feet. And so, and then also, Dana said, yeah, Russell's not here, but if you don't hear from Russell by Monday the 13th, go ahead with the project. Well, we didn't hear from Russell on the 13th, so we went ahead with the project. And that project meant me hiring a tree company, because where we wanted to put it, there was a couple of trees there. We wanted to get those down, plus some other trees on the property. And then I contacted Bill Young for paving. He came in, gave me an estimate, said, hey, here's when we can do it. And then Stu came over and we did the measurements from the stone wall. I didn't actually get a survey, but the day after the February meeting, Russell was good enough to find the original plot plan, surveyed plot plan for the 3 pieces of property, ours and then 2 adjacent to that. And it was very obvious on there that the stone wall was the property line, because that's the way it was marked up. So we measured essentially from the edge, the inner edge of the stone wall in, and we went to 24 feet for the front left corner as you face the garage. And it was gonna be 25 feet halfway down, 26 feet at the back left corner. So we staked that out and had that ready to go, because with Bill Young coming in to put in the paving, we wanted to make sure he brought the driveway up to the front stakes, so he would know where the garage was gonna be put in. During that time, when the tree guys came in, because they were working right there, they knocked over the stakes and that type of thing, and we had to replant them. And then when Bill Young came, when they did the scraping to get the driveway level, they actually drove right through where the garage was gonna be and dumped it off to the far left, between essentially relatively close to the wall. And so, again, the stakes got moved, and we ended up, as it shows on the map, I made a more definitive map. Oh, yeah. You were right, I knew the one we gave you wasn't. So, yeah, it ended up at 2210 all the way to 2311. So, the first time I heard from Russell Tatro was a voicemail from him on December 9th, 2 months later. And he said, Bill, I've received an anonymous call, an anonymous, I would say neighborly call, that in fact it appears your garage is 10 feet from the property line. Which I knew it wasn't, and I said, no, that's not the case. So Bosch and I had gone into Concord on the way home, because Clothespin was closed. We came down this way, and we pulled in, and I came in and started talking to Russell, and then Russell advised me very quickly, Bill, the setback's 50 feet. I said, what? He goes, yeah, the setback's 50 feet. However, if you get closer than 50 feet, then you can apply for an exception, okay? I don't think we talked about variance. I think we just talked
I think
about
we did.
exception.
I remember, as I said, it was, we talked about the setbacks, and then I said if it was less than 25 feet, then he would need the variance.
That'd be a variance. Well, anyway, so, you know, and he gave me an application, and then I went home, pulled up this Town of Webster website, pulled up the zoning ordinance and read through it, and said, oh, to me, and that's why I applied for an exception, I don't recall seeing the delineation between 20 and 25 feet. I know there's, as I said, I've learned a lot about it. I know there's two districts. There's the Lake District, and then there's the Residential Agricultural District, which we're in. We're in the Agricultural District. So I just reread the ordinance. You guys did a new one, or updated it.
We did,
Yeah, and it's very well delineated in there now.
yeah.
That, you know, in the Lake District, it's 20 feet, it could be 12, depending. But it's 20 feet, and then in the agricultural
It's 20
residential
feet
area,
from the
it's,
front and back, 12 from the sides. And
Oh,
then
okay,
there's-
yeah, it's 25 feet. So, you know, as I say in my write-up, my first write-up, you know, I was devastated. I didn't realize that that was it. And unfortunately, we had already gone ahead and put in the driveway and also the concrete for the base of the garage. And it, just before I got the call from Russell, all of the wood came in and everything else to frame it, put it up and everything else. It was already framed, and the shingles and everything. And when I came in to see Russell, he said, put a pause on it, you need to go through this process. But again, I fall back on not getting the correct information at the time that Stu came in to talk to Dana. And that's where we are right now. And as my wife said in her follow-on, you know, we're not violent people, we're not, you know, people that
We're
are.
not trying to pull.
We're not gonna roll your eyes and say, hey, we've got this at 20 feet, ha, ha, ha. No, if we had known it was 25, it would have been 25. We
And
would
we
have
could
done
have,
it.
if you look at the map, it shows the garage is kind of centered on the available land, kind of, but we could have moved it a couple of feet over if we had had the correct information, you know, and that's the unfortunate thing. We were acting in good faith on the information that was provided to us.
And it's raining.
I could swear I heard thunder.
No, yeah, you did.
I did.
Yeah, you did.
My hearing isn't what it used to be, so I have to question myself.
That's why I have hearing aids.
I did, except I kept getting infections from them. Are we into the question phase?
Well, yeah, I would say so, unless either of you want to add something to this.
Well, if I can,
Yeah, sure.
this is the third project that I've done in Webster in the last couple of years. I did one on 200 clothespin, and I also, same process, I drew it all up for the customer to see, came to an agreement, came down here, spoke to the same gentleman that was in the office,
Oh, Dana or
Dana,
Russ?
Dana. I've never seen you in the office. I've always talked to that guy who was covering. And he told me this, there was no need for a building permit, and he told me if I don't hear from Russell by Monday to go ahead and build it, but he said the setback was 20 feet, but be neighborly and try and, if you can give him a few more feet, try and give him a few more feet. So that's what Bill and I did. We went out and measured up the edge of the rock wall, and 22 or 23 feet, which fit nicely with what they were trying to accomplish. And same thing with Bill's ADU. We went down, I couldn't believe it. You don't need a building permit for an ADU with plumbing and electrical and all the stuff that goes in.
Well, we had the electrical
Right, the final,
inspector.
but originally he told me that we didn't need one.
Yeah.
Go ahead. And then it wasn't until midway through, when my electrician started wiring it, he said, I don't know, if that sounds right. We should go down and talk to somebody. And then the fire department got involved there, the safety chief or whatever. So I already had 2 goes already that it wasn't gonna, that we didn't need a permit, but I came down anyway to make sure things change. And he told me the same thing on this one. So I just wanted to throw it out there, that, that's what happened.
Oh, and one last thing on this more detailed map. You can see I've got a thing from the tanks that go kind of halfway down. This map was created by, when we were working on the ADU, we needed to supply a updated septic system design in case the septic system went in failure. It hasn't, so, but that's why you see a line going this way, and it's only 17 feet from the corner of the garage. Because the old septic system's not that big. And the only reason I know that's the line, the snow melted. You know, how
Oh, yeah.
the liquid coming out of the tank.
Keeps it melting.
Yeah, it melts it, so it had a nice little indentation right down to the, what do they call it, the,
Tank.
well, it's not, it's
Field.
what's
Leach
in,
field.
before it goes out into the field.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
D-box.
Hmm?
The D-box?
yeah. So,
Can I ask
Yeah,
you a
go
question?
ahead, yeah. Unless you have anything more to add.
I don't believe so.
Okay,
We've heard this story.
we'll interrupt you anyway.
All I was really looking for is, did you get your meets and bounds? I mean, do you know exactly how far away your property line is from the edge of this garage? You've got 22 feet, 10 inches, but when you were here last time, you didn't know.
Yeah, now I do, matter of fact, we still had 2 or 3 feet of snow on the ground. I went out with my son, who lives upstairs. Yeah, thunder. And I literally went to the center of the rock wall.
But are you sure that's your property line?
Yes, ma'am. I believe it is, yes. I firmly
I
believe.
believe and I'm sure are two different things.
Well,
It's what's on the survey.
it's what's on the survey.
It's on the survey.
It's on the survey.
Yeah,
Thank you, that's what I was
It's the
looking
one that Russell gave me.
Okay,
Yeah,
It shows the rock wall as the bound.
yeah.
okay. Well, I think I heard him say that the rock wall was kind of,
Well,
Yeah, it is. It goes like this. but I
Falling
went to
over
the
and so
center
it's
of the
hard to
rock
know.
wall.
this side, that
Well,
side.
my assumption would be the same as you, it would be the center of the rock wall.
Got it.
Just, the
Okay.
We spread it out, made like 30 feet wide rock walls.
There you go. Well, it's better than pulling up a boundary stake and moving it, but,
Yeah.
okay. So we're looking at 22 feet and 23 feet from one end of the garage to the other, to the wall,
To the rock wall.
to your boundary line.
Yes, ma'am.
And do we have the authority to permit it within those boundaries?
Marty's looking at something.
no, go ahead. No, this is,
And the other thing, I mean, you can see the contour lines. One of the things I made very sure with Bill Young is that this driveway coming down is slanted towards the rock wall,
Okay,
okay? So that when it gets down to the garage, and just before the garage, we have it rise up. and that's something that Stu recognized, that we needed to have the concrete pad up high, because you've got this water running down this driveway, you don't want it to go into your, so, and I made sure that Bill Young had it slanted towards the rock wall, so once it gets down there, it literally goes off, and there is a gully that goes right next to the rock wall all the way down to the river. So I purposely had it so it would run off that way. It's just a nice thing to know, my dear.
I was hearing this tick, 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 tick
Yeah,
thing.
that's,
Gutter or something?
What was that?
no, well, they were saying we could get up to 35, 40-mile-an-hour winds as this storm goes through. So it's just pounded, I mean, that faces west.
Yeah.
So, and that's where it's coming from. So that's
That
why,
was wind?
yeah, well, that was rain
blowing
being
against.
forced by wind.
Wow. Okay, glad I'm inside the house. Oh, I should look up, just to be sure.
So I think a large portion of our hearing here is on whether or not there was an estoppel. Right, you remember what, okay,
Yep.
yes, right, does everybody know what?
What was that? Say that again.
Equitable
You're
estoppel.
very quiet.
The equitable estoppel, right, which was based on, was it that Dana gave them the wrong information, right?
Okay, yeah.
Okay. And from what I think is the law in New Hampshire, and it's also the law under the United States Supreme Court, there is no, you don't get anything because the government made a mistake.
It's
Right.
my interpretation.
Right, okay, so everybody, yeah, because I know there is a case decision, New Hampshire decision in 14, which I think is saying, yeah, it doesn't matter that the town made a mistake, right? And I know that you, yeah, right, and you actually spoke to an
Well,
attorney
I
from.
went online, right? You always go online, and
Yeah.
there was a legal website
Yeah,
that has all kinds of lawyers for different things, and I went on that. That's when I first heard equitable estoppel.
yeah,
And that was the first thing that came out. He says, oh yeah, you may be able to go through this process because of the equitable. Then I called Shaheen and Gordon,
yeah,
and I spoke to a lawyer there, and that was his first thing he came right out and said, oh, yeah, you probably got an equitable estoppel there because you were given incorrect information on the setback.
and I wonder why he told you that.
Yeah.
Because,
Well, who knows what he's heard in the office, you know, obviously they work next door to each other.
yeah,
You know.
anyway.
And Dana.
So anyway, I don't think you can make your claim on the equitable estoppel. Because it was the town that made the mistake, and you can't rely on that. I mean, I don't agree with that. I mean, to me, it seems to me, it's perfectly reasonable to hold that against the town, right? Because you got the wrong information. So, and I don't think that I would make our decision based on that, because I think if we made our decision based on that, Of course, there's nobody else here to object to it.
And there hasn't been for all 4 meetings.
Right, right. But to me, I would prefer to just go ahead with the variance. You know, and obviously, again, you've been doing some research, which is great. So you know there are the 5 criteria
Yes.
for a variance.
Yes.
So why don't you make an argument based on each one of the 5 criteria? They're all, the 4 of them are really easy, right? And it's only the hard one, which is the unnecessary hardship, which is the one which you have to make an argument on. So I'd like to hear you make, you know, and again, it would have been much easier if you had a lawyer here, but anyway, you know, but try and make an argument on each one of these.
Okay, I don't know them off the top.
You're right here in your application.
Right.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
And I can give it to you.
Yeah, I don't think I have the application.
Give me 1 second. Remember. Yeah, those are the 5.
Oh, yeah. I mean, obviously, it's not gonna bring down any valuation of the property for anybody. Public interest, I'm not, you know, I mean,
I'm sorry.
it's for us. You know,
Okay,
it's for
so
our
is
use.
there-
One of the big things is, and you'll see, we're parked in the,
Handicap area.
yeah, handicap parking because my wife has vertigo. And we need to, you know, get it, so and we've got, Okenen, which is the Okenen Earthscapes, they're gonna come in and do the landscaping, and we've already talked about having a nice gradual walkway down to our front door, right from the side door of the garage.
So it would be a benefit to the public interest.
Yeah, that I don't know.
Okay,
Well,
so
I mean-
skip over the 3rd one. Go to 4 and 5, because
4
they're
and
easy to
5,
deal with.
yes, yeah. Well, again, the permanent substantial justice would just allow her ease of access into our apartment. But I'm not sure what else. And the use must not be contrary to the spirit of the ordinance. Contrary to the spirit of the ordinance. I'm not sure.
I mean, it would be reflected in a residential district. A garage would be a reasonable thing in a residential
Yeah,
district.
yeah, I mean, again, we have the ADU, and our son and daughter are using the garage to the original house, so we wanted to have a separate garage for us to use for the ADU. And, yeah,
And so basically, I'm looking for the 3rd one. Denial of permit would result in
Unnecessary
unnecessary
hardship.
hardship.
Well, for
Right.
physically, for me, but also financially. I mean, we've already invested in driveway and
Actually, that's interesting, because you can't make that argument.
yeah, we can't leave that out.
Well,
Because
You
it's-
can't make a financial argument,
Yeah.
which is, again, I'm
But
just
in
telling you
this
what
case,
the
it's a
Supreme Court
physical-
has said.
Yeah.
Right.
It's a
Well,
physical hardship for her.
so you should talk about why it needs to be in that spot. What about the property, like the drainage
Well,
from the
well,
road,
it can't, well.
the ravine on the other side?
Yeah, the sewage.
Yeah, there's a
steep-
very steep ravine on the other side. We didn't want to get too close. There's 2 septic tanks right there. If in fact the septic system goes in failure, what do we gotta do to dig up those tanks if we have to? And so we needed room for them to be able to get in and work on
And you
that
could've-
system.
And it would be difficult to put the septic tanks anywhere else, could,
No, we can't. Yeah, we can't put them anywhere else.
And I
Because
guess I
the
come down
pipe
to-
comes right out of the corner of that
Yeah.
house.
Okay, I think you've made your argument.
How big is this lot?
It's almost 3 acres.
It's almost 3 acres, but it's right on.
It's
the
like
river.
Most of it is woods.
Most-
Yeah,
And you
The
gotta
way
get-
the lot works, from what I've seen, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, it goes like this.
That's
Then
what I've
there's a
seen.
flat, a small flat area. In between here, it's like this, and then you're right on the river.
yeah.
For the
Yeah,
protected
right.
shoreland.
Yeah, beyond the septic system, it's a pretty steep downhill.
And it's all woods.
And that's probably, I don't know, maybe we're on an acre and a quarter.
I think
But
it's
the
smaller
point
than
is you
3
can't build
acres.
it anywhere else.
No,
So
we
flat
can't.
is-
Where is your lot line on this side of your tanks and septic system?
Oh,
This
so
is
our
your
80
tanks, and here's your existing septic system. Where's your lot line here?
Oh, the lot line's way over here.
Our
Over
ADU is,
here.
our
Yeah.
ADU doesn't show on
Here,
there.
let me show
Yeah,
you.
the ADU.
So the ADU is right here,
Got it?
okay, comes down to about here.
Uh-huh.
And then this is the garage, goes all the way over here. And then there's a
So
ravine.
there's, it's off the map.
Yeah, it's off the
Okay,
map.
got it.
Yeah. There's
I mean,
a drainage that comes off the road,
straight down to the river.
yeah, down to the river, and that's between us and our next door neighbors.
And I mean, if people have driven by the site, you can kind of see it when you look at it.
Yeah.
Because you can
Shaking
definitely
that
see they
stuff.
don't have a lot of space to work with.
Yeah.
I'm like,
I was
Yeah,
kind of thinking the
I would've been
septic
happy
system
to
would be a
move
good
it.
argument for that.
Another 3 feet. But,
Okay, so, is there any more testimony in favor? Any opposition? Okay, now we'll close it and open it up for discussion by the board. And,
Mr. Attorney, can I go back to the question of, do we have the authority to do this? To grant
yes.
closer
well,
to the lot line then?
I would say we do. I mean, I read a bunch of this.
Yeah, I was relying on you for
Yeah, I read a bunch of this, and I kept thinking, you know, even our Supreme Court, you know, would actually back us if we did. Because if we're talking about, you know, this might be like 6 inches, you know? And is there, well, first of all, there isn't any opposition here, so there's not gonna be any, it's never gonna be contested, right? I mean, it won't be contested. But if it was, I think that the person who was contesting it would have to give us some, would have to make, not to us, but to the court, would have to make some good argument. You know,
how that's a detriment to them.
right, right. I mean, I think, you know, if the town could say, well, you know, really, we can't, if we let this guy put up his garage 6 inches closer than it should have been, you know, wouldn't that affect everybody in town? And they would never say that. I mean, it's, you know, maybe it would make a difference in, you know, the town of Amherst, you know?
I mean, where there's so many people in a
yeah,
neighborhood.
and it's
Yeah,
not smaller
right,
lots and
right, but
closer to
here,
lot lines.
you know, I mean,
I hear you, I just wanna make sure that we're within the bounds of the law.
well,
Do we have the authority? Keep going back to that. It says pretty clearly
well,
that it's within.
yes, I
that
would
many
say,
feet.
I'd say we do.
Okay.
That we, as the zoning board of adjustment, has the right to make exceptions. I mean, that's the whole reason we are, right?
Mhm.
If there were no, if we didn't have the right to make exceptions like this, then there wouldn't be any need for us, right?
Well, except when, you know, the bounds are really
Well-
clear in the ordinance, and then we have people that are saying, oh, I've already got something built in that setback. Do we have the authority to say, yeah, it's okay?
I mean,
Well, I can answer some of that. So
Go
when-
ahead.
Please.
So when we end up in a situation like that, that's the reason I have them come here first. Because you guys do have the ability to grant that grace if you deem it's worthy, and it's, follows those criteria before we take them to any further enforcement action. Cause this board is the relief valve, so they can always come here before that. So that's kind of the reason we do it this way.
Well, I keep going back to, you were here a year ago to put the accessory dwelling unit on, and we were talking about side yard setbacks then. So I kept going back to, how did you end up building a year later something into that setback? That
We
just
never-
doesn't make
no.
sense to me.
We never talked about setbacks.
Of course we did.
No,
Yeah.
not on the ADU,
No, that's right in the middle of the property line.
yeah.
Then we probably didn't have to worry about setbacks.
exactly,
But
but-
you would have,
But ma'am, we did not know. She had to convince me to build this garage. And then once she got the vertigo and everything else, then that made the decision to build the garage. Okay? And so that's why Stu came and ended up talking to Dana about this whole thing. And that's just it. I remember distinctly when he came back and said, yeah, the setback's 20 feet, so let's just make sure it's more than 20 feet.
Do you have neighbors on both sides of your property?
Yes, ma'am.
You do?
Yeah, but what, on this, yeah.
The
Don't
map.
we have isn't there another map with the, there's a hand-drawn one that we did.
It might have been in the previous one.
I remember seeing that, which showed where the neighbors' houses were, cause
Oh, no, I didn't.
they're
see
like
it.
kinda far
I
away
remember
from.
seeing that.
But they're kind of far away,
Well, I mean, we
right?
know
Oh,
where,
they're very far away.
we know where
This-
874 is.
This right here, and they have this hand-drawn.
I think it was in the previous one.
Oh, okay. Well, this is the line going down. This is,
Yeah.
let me just show you. This is the line going down. Okay, there's our ADU. See, that's why we weren't worried about setbacks on the ADU because of that. But essentially what this is a huge ravine,
It's a what?
undevelopable,
Land,
yeah.
because it's
land.
wet.
Oh,
maybe
there's a.
Swamp,
isn't it
There's
so?
a gutter that, or a, what do you call it,
Culvert?
under the ground?
Culvert.
Huh?
A culvert.
Yeah,
Culvert.
a culvert that comes out from the police department.
that's the public safety drain.
Oh,
Yeah,
it's
that
under
goes right down
Oh, wow.
there, and there's no way you'd have to fill it in and put in a huge culvert
Yeah,
to even
right,
try and do
right.
anything. No, there's a huge area.
Yeah, it goes
Yeah.
like this, Steve.
Yeah, once the
Oh,
leaves
okay.
come in, we can't even see the house next door. And as a matter of fact, even the house up here,
Yeah,
which is Knowlton, is it
The Knowltons,
Knowlton's house?
yep.
He's now renting it.
Yeah.
Yeah. When the leaves come in, he can't even see the garage.
well, it doesn't seem like the neighbors are too upset or they'd be here.
Yeah.
I mean, that's one thing too, I would think, but,
Well, I mean, obviously you send out the notice, to all of the
Obviously,
abutters.
they've gotten it 4 times.
yeah. But no, we
Junk
never had
mail
any
right now.
neighbors, have we ever had any neighbors at any?
No one's
No, we
coming out.
never had any neighbors here.
No. And you don't even know, since it was an anonymous.
Well, I know I can't tell you.
Right, okay. Doesn't matter.
That's
But it
why I
really
say
doesn't- it doesn't
neighborly
make any
anonymous.
difference. Right.
Well, if we have a neighborly anonymous who's upset enough to anonymously, complain, why aren't they here? Good question.
That's what I mean, it is advertised, you've sent notices to all the
Notices were
neighbors.
sent out.
A few times now, right?
No, it's just the one,
Yeah.
Oh, just
because
the
we
one.
posted that the hearing will be continued at the
Uh,
next meeting. No, this one wasn't, it was, the
Oh, no.
first notice is sent, oh no, we did do it twice.
Yeah,
We
because of
did
the
do it twice,
variance and
because the
special
first one,
exception.
special exception, and then we did it a second time. Yeah.
I mean, if people are so upset, if that's the case, the neighbors, I would think they'd show up. I mean,
Yeah.
that's what I would be
Yeah.
doing, so, I mean,
Yeah, so as far as I'm concerned, even if we did something that it might be sort of shaky, it's not gonna make any difference because nobody's gonna show up. Nobody is going to object to it. They still could, that's true.
You got 30 days, correct?
Right, yes, there's 30 days in which anybody can file an appeal.
And I'm always
Though-
concerned about precedent. We
Well-
allow it for this, we allow it for that, and pretty soon, why do we
But-
have the rules?
Well, again, that's the reason we're here. Because we're the ones who make relief from exceptions, for exceptions.
And I know.
And again, I think if you go back and you look at the variances, you know, some of them we deny,
Yes, we did.
sometimes. you know,
Yes.
And other times, we will grant the exception, even though the exception might be, again, sort of, you know, I like to hear an argument that you're making for the unnecessary hardship, you know? And-
Yeah.
And basically, when I hear a good argument for an unnecessary hardship, I'll generally vote to grant the variance.
Well, that's what I was waiting for, but that's why I asked where's the other lot line? Because you certainly have enough room to move. Let me be clear, as I understand the hardship, it goes with the land, not the people. So if there's no other options for where you could put this building, then easy to say there's a hardship on this property. But there isn't a hardship on this property.
No, there isn't anywhere else to put that garage. I mean,
No,
we would have to do a whole new septic, tear up the old septic and put in a new, you see the septic line right
I do,
there?
I
Okay.
do. Please explain this to me.
So on one side is the rock wall, the other side is the septic pipes.
So
The
you-
pipes that go to the septic system,
To the leach field.
the leach field.
There's the hardship.
Well,
No, you could still move the leach field.
If this garage was moved over 6 inches, right? I mean, you could do it without affecting the
Well,
leach
even
field.
if it was over 6
Right.
inches, it would still be 24 feet instead of 22
You
or
could still
23.
make
Yeah.
it.
Based on the
I
resolution,
thought it was 24 and a half.
That's what they thought when they originally measured it, and then
Yeah.
they found the setbacks and it was less.
Okay,
it's
Yeah, I
2
mean,
feet, 2
22,
inches
10,
at the
so
Okay.
2 feet.
yeah, all right, right. I mean, if it was
It's
moved
2
2
feet,
feet,
2
would it
inches too
interfere with
close.
the
Too
leach
close to
field?
the lot line?
No,
No.
And we
Based on
would've- we
the
would've built
25
it.
foot.
we would have done
Oh,
that.
right, if we had
Right,
known.
okay, yeah, so I don't wanna hear that argument that this affects the leach field. No, I think it's just simply, that to me, it's a hardship, because it would just, to me, it would just be, a mistake to force somebody to move this slab. Well, it's not just the slab, I mean, it's, most of the garage is already built. And it doesn't affect anybody in the town. I think that's the important thing. Nobody in the town is gonna be affected by this garage being, what, like 2 or 3 feet?
Yeah, I
Right,
would
2
agree
feet.
with you, Marty, I would. I would agree with what he's saying, nobody's going to be affected.
Right.
But I don't think the hardship's proved. Really don't. But, okay,
Okay.
Well, if people were, all I could think is if people are upset about what they're doing, why aren't these
why aren't they
people
here?
here?
Yeah.
There's the other side of the
Because
hardship.
everybody gets a notice, right? All the surrounding people get notices. So if they're really upset, if it was me and I was upset, I'd be here not as a committee member, I'd be there.
Yeah, you don't show up after the fact and then,
Right,
Make a
complain,
complaint, yeah.
right, exactly, and there's enough notice, it's not like we're hiding it someplace.
I remember our ADU meeting.
I'm sorry?
I remember our ADU meeting, and a woman showed up, but she thought it wasn't our address, it was someone else's address.
Yeah.
And she thought
Oh, yeah, I
we
remember
were
this.
next door to her, and we weren't.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I'm going. And she walked out.
Yep, I remember that. That was
Yeah.
the woman across the street,
Yeah,
which they still didn't notify because they're across the.
well, yeah, but she still got, for this one,
Yep, she did.
more
Okay.
questions for me?
Any more discussion?
I'm fine.
Okay.
Ready to vote?
All right, so this is in favor of granting a variance.
Martin Bender,
I'm in favor.
Robert Brown's not here, Barbara Corliss,
Yes.
Robert Clages,
Yes.
Dee Blake,
In favor.
Stephen Butter.
Yes.
All right.
You got it.
Yeah, thank you.
I don't have to think about how to move that thing anymore.
That would be terrible.
For the next
I'm
one,
sorry.
just talk
I've
to
been
Russell.
thinking
slab
about
is for
what
sure,
kind of
for sure,
noise
talk to
you do
Russell.
that.
I
Well,
don't, I couldn't,
you wouldn't
I
have
can't
to
hear
move the
either.
slab.
Everybody.
Yeah,
But the, I would wait 30 days for the appeal period to be done.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And
Yeah.
then,
That guy comes out of the woodwork now after 4 hearings, I'm gonna be pissed.
Enjoy your summer.
Yeah.
what do you mean? We just had it today.
Yeah, right.
Oh, don't say that. We've gotta have more.
Oh, yeah, there's
We
more
know
the rest
we're
of the
gonna,
week.
we know we're gonna hit the eighties and
I
nineties.
know. Then we'll hit
and are
the,
you still willing to volunteer on this?
Yeah.
Huh?
You still willing to volunteer for this?
Sure.
Great,
All right.
great,
Wonderful.
yes.
Now he's
You
educated.
want me as an alternate or a permanent?
An
For now,
alternate.
just an alternate.
So we have
I mean,
technically 5 full members, but I
he-
don't know what's going on with
He could
Bob.
call me at 6:30 and I'd be here at 6:32.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Unless you walked, and then it might be 6:37.
Well, it could be,
Yeah.
or I thumbed.
Yeah.
Yeah, good
Maybe
luck
a
with
little
that.
quicker.
thank you.
Oh, no,
Okay.
thank
All right.
you.
So we got minutes.
Yeah, the minutes.
Second?
Has everybody read over the minutes?
I was here, I remember.
Yeah.
The last one was
2 minutes
very
long.
short, and there was the one before it too.
That's it.
Oh, you wanna put it on?
And that
I
was the
make a
action.
motion to accept the minutes as written.
Barbara did it.
Both dates, February 17th and
17th.
Both
March
dates.
10th?
Both
Okay,
dates.
Second.
All in favor?
Yes.
Aye,
Aye.
Okay, I'm gonna turn the recording on.
thank you.
Well, good. I like how that was handled. 'Cause-
I'm sorry.
No, I said, I watched a lot. I like how it's handled, because I don't know where we're coming